Hello folks. Well, today we have a little bit of a project. I accepted a job recently to help someone repair their adjustable bed base, and basically what's going on is that this is the old linear actuator right here, and it articulates the head part of the bed up and down. And unfortunately what we have is that the driving motor within it is no longer working, and we were able to diagnose that quite easily by first switching the output on the main board to the other actuator for the feet. So we swapped the motors on the unit and saw that when we swapped it, that the same one was broken, that this one was not able to move the feet, but the feet one could move the head. So we were able to diagnose specifically that this motor mechanism does not work. And then when I took it apart here and then tried to operate it with it just like this, not even this motor would drive it or would move. So we've diagnosed that specifically we have this motor within the actuator assembly is broken. Now what we went and did was bought a replacement actuator, and it's roughly the same size. If you hold it up, the distance right here, this length is the same, and this all this form factor is the same. And in fact, I was able to find it by Googling the particular model and part number of this linear actuator, and found that this was purported to be suitable as a replacement. Now I don't know if you can already see though, is that this one has this weird wire terminal with 4 pins in it. So that's completely different from the one we've taken out of the bed with just these 2 points in it. So I guess we can't just put this in place where this was. But what we can do is perhaps modify one or both of these to have this go back into the bed and work correctly, or this one, whichever it is we do. So some options we have here are, we could take apart this whole section here, take out the motor within it, and then go ahead and transfer it over, replace this one. Now that's assuming that the mechanism works the same way. It looks pretty standardized, so I would think that it has a similar sort of screw in there. But if I can, I think I want to avoid taking this all apart, and instead what I think I want to try to do is just get the end of this wire to look like the end of this wire. Now what's really weird here is this thing has 4 pins on it, so right away that causes me to be a little bit suspicious and not really understanding what's going on there. So what I think I want to do is maybe these are like redundant pins. Maybe these are like redundant pins, I'm thinking, and there really is only 2 contacts within the wire. I could perhaps detect that by cutting the wire and seeing the cross section of how many contacts go in the wire. Now there may only be 2, and I may just be able to solder this connector right onto this actuator wire. That would be nice, huh? So the original actuator, the length on the cable is not very long. In fact, it's maybe 2 feet. Okay, the length of this cable attached to here is quite a bit longer, so it's fine actually that we have extra wire, because we're going to cut some of it off, right? Now we want to leave as much on the actuator as possible, and just cut off kind of a little bit here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sever this wire and hopefully see 2 contacts in here. Confirmed. Bingo. Look at that. That's beautiful. And they're even the same color. Alright, so that's wonderful. We can just take this wire now and attach it onto here easily. It's the same gauge and everything. That's great. Whew. All right, well that project just got a lot easier. I'm sure glad that that's what I can do, and that I don't have to take all of this apart, transfer a motor from one to the other, and all of that. Whew, that would have been not so fun. Now let me make sure, okay, that the amount of wire on this actuator is the same as the length on this older one. And what I'm just going to do to see if I can make sure that's the case is I'm going to take this out of here. I'm going to bring it to right there. And I'm just going to kind of, I guess, move it a little bit. This right here needs to be how long? Needs to be that long, okay? And a little bit more, okay? There we go. So we've marked the length of the wire this actuator needs to be. We're going to cut a bit of extra wire off. That's good scrap wire, we'll keep that. And then we're going to also cut off the wire of the old actuator right here. Excuse me. So, hey there, actuator wire. Let's get you. All right. Cut that off of there. Fantastic. This whole bin of stuff can essentially just go aside. And here is our piece right here. That's just going to go on the end of this wire right here. So that's pretty sweet, huh? Pretty easy. Let's go ahead and set up our soldering iron. So my solder that I have here does contain lead, so this whole bin is, you know, things that are essentially potentially lead contaminated. So we want to be mindful of that, right? My solder is there. My helping hands come out. My soldering iron and its cable come out and get plugged in. The lead contaminated container, I'm just going to put that on the ground over here. Or rather in a box on the ground actually. Alright, so this soldering iron is coming up to temp. Okay. And let's go ahead and prepare our wires. So we've got wire strippers right here. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. We're probably going to want some heat shrink tubing as well. So first let me remove the outer shielding of this wire. Woohoo! There they are, look at that. Brown and blue. Just like these guys right here. Okay? Super cool. So I'm going to strip back the wires of this connector here as well, or rather the shielding off of those is what I mean. Let's go ahead and remove that. It is kind of asymmetrical and kind of weird to cut at. Alright, but I did get it. And did I damage the wires under it? Not that I can see. It looks good. So we got those two, those two. Awesome, huh? Look at that. I'm just going to go ahead and get some heat shrink tubing and my scissors. Alright, heat shrink tubing on standby here. Let me go ahead and cut off a large piece. The large piece is for right here, joining them together. And I've got, let's see, a nice big long piece. There we go. That. And then I want smaller pieces for the individual wires within there. And for that, I actually have kind of a lot of this green stuff. So we're just going to use 2 green segments for our inner wires here. We're going to cut off about, just say that much of each, and there's 2. So we'll do 2 of those. Alright, so we have our 3 segments of heat shrink prepared. That's garbage there. And with our soldering iron, we're going to go ahead and get our little helping hands up. Okay. I think I need to maybe reframe this camera just a bit, you guys. I think that's perhaps better. Okay. So this is going to be over here. That's going to be there. So now what we have is, I guess I can remove that as well. Alright, so our replacement right here, we have the wires attached to that, right, on the linear actuator right here, those wires. And then the other one, I'm going to get my microphone closer to my soldering iron workspace. We have that right there for the connector. Okay, so we're going to need to strip the individual wires, the gray and the blue ones here. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I don't want to take away too much, and this is an instance certainly where I can use the the predefined bits at the end of the wire stripper here. They're able to take that away pretty well. So the blue one is there, that's ready. I'm going to prepare the blue one on the end here. Okay, so that's ready. I'm also going to prepare, I think, the brown ones just because, and we got the brown one ready on that, and then the brown one ready on that one as well. Okay, now we got to get our sleeves on. The big one for the end goes on first. Okay, and then it's going to thread just down here. Great. And then the individual ones for the individual wires, they're still quite large actually. I may need less. I think I'm just going to trim down, cut one of these in half maybe even. No, not half. Into 2/3. Okay. So this is 2/3 long compared to the original one, and I think that's going to be a better fit. These joints are pretty small, so I'm going to go over the blue one first, it looks like. Yeah, I can do that. I'm going to get that clipped in there on the helping hand. Now that heat shrink is very close to the metal that I'm going to be soldering, so hopefully it doesn't just trigger and gets shrunk real quick. I have to be very, very quick and precise with my actually, you know what I'm thinking? The length of blue wire on the actuator itself is a bit longer, so we're going to put that down there, and it can go down and be a little bit further from the end than it would be if it was attached to the other one. So we got that there, and then this comes together like that, and then sure, right there. Alright, so that's going to be great. Let's go ahead and tin the ends actually of both of these wires. So we do that, and then we do that, and then we touch them together. There we go. That's a fine solder joint right there. Alright. Feels nice. We've got a little green sleeve to go right over it. Perfect. Look at that, you guys. That's brilliant. Alright, you guys, I got my heat gun here to shrink wrap this in place, and let me go ahead and get that green heat shrunk, and that looks good. Alright, that's one of 2 joints completed. Let's get the other one on there as well, and okay, so that's the brown one. The brown one, we need to shorten our heat shrink sleeve a little bit, the green bit that we cut off. So that is shortened. Okay, let's go ahead and tin both ends of wires actually without the sleeve on there, just so we can do that easily without worrying about melting it or heat shrinking it, right? So we get that wire tinned, and then we get that wire tinned. Fabulous. So we blow on that, cool it all down nice, and then we get this down here. Okay, I'm going to bring the camera down just a bit, you guys, so you can see maybe a little bit better. Alright, so we have this last joint to join and we will do that. We get the wires kind of held together a bit better there, and we touch the 2 tinned ends of the ow, not our finger, no. Alright, we need to take advantage of our helping hands here a bit better. So we hold the bottom at least, yeah, alright. So we hold the bottom, then we get this 2 tinned wires to connect. There we go. They are connected. I blew at the microphone instead of at the joint. I gotta blow at the joint there to cool it. Alright, so our little sleeve slides in place, and then we get our heat gun, excuse me, keep that in place, come on, and we use the heat gun. Alright, sweet bro. We're almost done, I guess. We got just this to cover with the sleeve that we attached earlier, right? So it's way over here and now slides back down the wire length in place, and we can use it to cover this right here. Alright, so now that's in place, covering all of this, and we can go ahead and shrink wrap that final section. I'm going to go ahead also and unplug my soldering iron so it has some time to cool. Okay, the unplugged soldering iron can't go back in the box just yet because it's hot. It'll melt the box, so we gotta let it sit there and cool just a bit. But otherwise, our linear actuator is done and ready to be installed back into the bed. So we go ahead and get that last bit of shrink wrapped. There we go. All right, now we have one, replacement actuator for the bed with the original connector applied to its wire, and that'll be good. We're done here. So thanks for watching, you guys. Again, this this solder does have lead in it, so I want to make sure the solder goes back in the box. Of course, I'm going to wash my hands. I've avoided touching my face this whole time, and the helping hands, which is also lead contaminated, goes in the box with it. What else goes in here? The soldering iron itself, which is still cooling. Okay, and then I will go ahead and wash my hands and wipe down my heat gun as well. Oh, and the camera that I touched. So yeah, we're done here. I'm gonna go ahead and end my streaming. So thanks for tuning in, you guys, and have a good day. Bye bye.